When I was a kid, Santa lived in my basement. Mary knew this was a special day, the day she finally had the opportunity to reveal her story to the whole world. Despite being sure everyone would deem her crazy, she took a seat in the studio and started her written monologue. I was born and raised in Girdwood, Alaska, a quiet town nobody ever talks about. A tiny piece of land so insignificant, most maps didn't even include it. With a population of only 3,000, it was barely considered a town. Every kid that grew up here used to curse their existence for being one of the unlucky bastards unfortunate enough to be born here. A small, isolated shithole where it's cold all year round, making it feel even more lifeless and generic than the North Pole. My family was like every other in this town, poor, unhappy, and too large for its own good. We could barely afford to pay the bills, yet my parents decided it was a good idea to have 2 children. Christmas was the one time our town felt normal compared to others. I will never forget the Christmas of 2006. All me and my friends could talk about was the new PS3 and how we were asking Santa for it. It became a competition to see who could impress Santa the most, in the hopes he'd bring at least one of us a PS3. I used to love the winter holiday period, and despite the fact my family was living in probably the weakest town economically, they always found a way to get me a cool present for Christmas Eve. But this year, I was going to experience the worst Christmas of my life, the one that almost took my sanity. Well, I mean Santa almost took my sanity. Everyone is probably wondering, why did Santa Claus live in my basement? And how did I find out? I'll start from the beginning, which would be my birthday, December 12th. For my 13th birthday, my parents had saved up some money. It wasn't an enormous sum to throw a big party, but it was enough to order a few pizzas, some drinks, and a cake. I invited some of my friends over to my house and prepared my dusty snack. Kevin had short brunette hair, dark brown eyes, and was taller than most boys his age. He was very much into rock, listening to his Nirvana and Judas Priest discs, and sometimes even playing his guitar. His passion for rock was a way to cope with the boredom and lack of life in this forgotten town. I think his biggest defect was his rebellious attitude, but it could have also been his impulsive mentality. He would snap at anybody for the smallest thing, but despite all that, deep down, Kev was a big softie. I still think about him to this day, and I know it might sound weird, but when I listen to his old discs, it's like a part of him is still there with me. He didn't even get to sing me happy birthday one last time. I found him cold-blooded on the basement floor. The image of his lifeless body will forever be engraved in my memory and will haunt me in my nightmares until the day I join him. After what happened to Kevin that night, my only wish for my birthday